What's going on, guys? Oh my Godzilla, back for the very exciting Godzilla figure review, guys. Today from Super 7, we have their Toho Ultimates Godzilla -1 minus color version. This guy looks absolutely beautiful for the most part. Definitely cannot wait to take a better look at this figure. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Before we jump into the figure, I wanted to quickly take a look at this box. Really cool image of Godzilla -1, looking pretty cool, looking kind of demonic almost with the, the kind of like the streams of like smoke or whatever coming off of him. Godzilla -1 minus color down there. Top of the box just figures the Ultimates logo with a little see-through part there. The side of the packaging is just kind of an extension of this image there. So that's kind of a cool angle. You can kind of see the full thing. This side just kind of has some of the -1 information, and then the cool Godzilla -1 logo on the back. Super 7 Godzilla, definitely pretty awesome. Good looking box. Obviously going to be in the black and white color scheme. Let's jump back into the figure. So guys, this figure stands just under 8 inches in height. Going to be very large, pretty darn bulky as well. But I definitely think they did a great job with it. One quick thing, I don't know why Super 7 shipped the minus color before the regular one. My regular one is still not shipped. I ordered it, but it is not shipped yet. But we have the minus color, so I figured since we have minus color, let's review minus color first. So starting off with the sculpt and detail and whatnot. Great looking sculpt. The feet look very good, really big, nice detail. The toe claws look good. The toe scales look really, really nice, kind of overlapping each other like they kind of normally would in most Godzilla designs. Legs look really good, nice and, kind of, have a ton of the texture to them. Really good detail throughout the legs. Looks amazing. The front chest area of the figure looks great. Coming up, you kind of have the detail working on the abs. Then the chest kind of looks pretty darn accurate as to what we've seen in most of the other figures for Godzilla -1 in terms of kind of his chest plate and whatnot. Moving down to the arms, looks nice. Shoulders look good. Have a good little spikes. The elbow spikes look awesome. I love seeing those guys. I thought that was a really cool design that they included in this figure design when they designed Godzilla -1. The hands look great. He's kind of got those same kind of overlapping scales there. Fingers look good. Good detail. The claws are painted well. I think they did a great job on the detail of this figure. The spines look positively gorgeous. Really good looking spines. I think they did a great job there. The tail feels a little short to me. I feel like the tail could be a little longer. -1 had a pretty sizable tail. Not that this thing's too small, but I feel like it could have been a little bit bigger. The spines look great. Kind of have the first little set of kind of the more chunky spines. Then you get into the really spiky spines, and they look absolutely great. I have a little bit of curvature issues on some of the spines here and there, but that's okay. Nothing a hairdryer probably won't be able to fix, and either way, it's not too bad. Anyways, the face of this figure is the one thing I'm trying to figure out my opinion on. I feel like there's something a little bit off, and I'm having a little trouble kind of pinpointing exactly what I don't love about it, but it just feels a little off to me. We'll take a look at both heads side by side here in a second, but here's a quick look at the closed mouth head, which is the one he comes with. But I just feel like there's something about him that looks a little bit off. If we bring in another figures, the SH Monstars, which I feel like is a little bigger, I feel like maybe the snout's a little, the nose part's a little too long, and maybe the angle of this comes in weird. I don't know. There's just something about this face that feels a little inaccurate, but I love the little spines on the top of his head. Those are always cool looking. Let's take a look at the open mouth. I figured it'd be easier to just take a look at the head by itself so we could spin it around and take a better look instead of popping it off and put it back on. I think the open mouth looks a little bit better. Here he is kind of looking straight on. I think that's a pretty good look at him. The teeth could be a lot better. A lot of room for improvement there. There's not, they're not really individually sculpted. A couple of the back ones look like they are, but the front majority of them are not. Tongue looks good. Kind of nice little painted color down the middle. Top of the mouth does not have any paint done to it. You got some of the little spikes coming off the side of the head. Again, these spines look really good. They kind of remind me of like the 2002 suit. Pretty cool there, just with the tons of rows, the little spines coming off of him. I really like that. So, and then the eyes look pretty good. It doesn't look too bad from the front on, but so I think the open mouth head is the way to go. Taking a look at the two side by side, it doesn't help that the eyes on this one are definitely kind of cross-eyed, or not cross-eyed, whatever you call the opposite of cross-eyed, where the eyes are going in opposite directions. And he's got, the center of his teeth seem to not really be painted that well, so it kind of gives him a weird gap look there. So I don't know what's really drawing me to the closed mouth haze that makes it look a little off, but I definitely like the open mouth face better, so we will be putting that one on the figure for display purposes and the rest of this review. Alrighty, we got the closed mouth head on there. There's the battle damage from pushing the head back into place. These Super 7s take the arts, you know, the tail and the heads do not easily pop on. I didn't take the hairdryer to it, probably would have helped, but whatever. So articulation-wise, guys, we'll start at the bottom of the figure. So the foot does have some point and flex, so that's pretty good, right here. And then in terms of, it does kind of swivel on the ball joint as well. It doesn't really rotate, but it kind of just does this weird swivel thing. So it doesn't kind of spin, but it does a swivel motion. So you can kind of, it offers good posability either way. Moving into the leg, your knee articulation, pretty good. Gonna get you where you need to go for sure. At the hips, the legs don't really have that kind of outward motion like we have sometimes. It has a tiny bit, but that's about it. So you can't really swing them wide. Then in terms of movement, comfortably, I can get them about there forward. And then in terms of the backward movement, not a ton, probably back to there. So not hugely articulate kind of on the thigh joint, but that's okay because we have a good amount of knee articulation, which I would prefer anyways. At the waist, we can spin pretty well, but you have to make sure you have to come up and over so you don't clash the spines. But he does have good movement on the chest there, and then good, you know, bend, so you can get him to look down pretty well. It does kind of leave a little bit of a spine gap, but that's okay. And then in terms of the head, there's your downward. There's your, this is on the neck, and then the head doesn't move a ton. Aside from a 360 spin, it doesn't really move up and down on that joint. So it's all going to be in the neck. But you know, if you wanted him to look down, there's kind of what you're looking at. If you wanted him to look up, there's kind of what you're looking at. So he can pretty decently posable in terms of that point of articulation. In terms of the arms, guys, though the arms will move on that shoulder ball joint. Pop them out, push them in. Easy 360 there. Taking a look at, we do have kind of a mid-shoulder point of articulation, which can go 360. The elbow can bend pretty much to 90 degrees and then out straight. And it also spins 360, so very posable arms. And then the hands, 360 spin, and they do have some of that wrist articulation in there. It's pretty stiff, but you can get it to do some bending in there. Moving into the tail, which could be a lot better. If you wanted to go kind of upward, there's your upward limit. Then the tail's going to come right off. I spent so long getting this thing off. We'll take a look at the articulation without a figure attached, so it's going to make it a little easier. So there's your downward. It's interesting how it doesn't kind of go down flat. It kind of still has an arch to it. And then in terms of the side to side, this figure, had I taken the hairdryer to it, you might be able to get a little more out of it if I warmed up the joints again. But there's the cold joint articulation. So pretty decent articulation, but it definitely could be a lot better, especially even if you wanted to take the hairdryer to it. A few size comparisons. First thing I would take a look at is the Bandai King series figure. So this guy's going to obviously be a little bit taller. These guys are kind of in the 7 to 8 inch range, and the King series is more on like the 10 to 12. So King series is going to be a little bit bigger, but I just wanted to show that sizing just to see. Bandai Movie Monster series, that is the minus color Godzilla figure from Bandai. SH Monster Arts, this is the regular version. I did not buy the minus color version for SH Monster Arts, but there is the size would be the same either way. And then just another Toho Ultimates. This is the first Super 7 release, just their Godzilla that they did. So obviously going to be pretty much in the exact same height line. So this has been the Toho Ultimates Godzilla -1 minus color version from Super 7. Pretty solid figure. Suffers from the same kind of regular Super 7 flaws that we have, whereas, you know, for whatever reason they refuse to do a single head with jaw articulation. I would much prefer that over 2 heads. And then it also suffers from the problem of being way too expensive. I think Toho Ultimates should I think Super 7 really needs to try and figure out a way to get the Toho Ultimates down to like a $50 price point versus $85, almost $100 after shipping. You know, I was talking about this with Shin RobJira just earlier today. Even if they had to sacrifice some of the size, bring them down so they were a little more in scale with like SH Monster Arts or Hiya Toys or something, I would take the cheaper price point. You know, it's fun to have the big figures, but for $100 basically after shipping, I'm pretty torn on this. The minus color version of this figure was fairly elusive to pick up, so if you missed out on it, hopefully you at least got the regular version, which I will be doing a review of as soon as I get it in. But I know they did a pretty limited release on the minus color version. I can't remember the exact amount, but it was pretty limited. It sold out pretty quickly. I was fortunate enough to just be around my computer when I saw the pre-order go up, so I was able to snag it. But guys, let me know your thoughts on this figure in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more, and we'll see you in the next one.